Not everyone obsesses over Libra in the same way, and not everyone who watches you closely is in love with you. Obsession is not love, it is imbalance. Libra, you are one of the most misunderstood signs in the zodiac. People see the charm, the elegance, the way you smooth tension before it becomes conflict. They see how easily you move between people, how naturally you create harmony, how gracefully you avoid drama. And they assume that is your entire identity. Easy, pleasant, neutral. But that is only the surface. Underneath is Venusian gravity, a quiet, magnetic pull. You do not chase. You do not compete loudly. You do not beg for attention. Yet people drift toward you. They think about you longer than they planned. They replay your words in their mind late at night. They compare others to you without meaning to. To secretly obsess does not mean dramatic declarations. It does not mean public claims. It looks subtle. It looks like someone watching your story every single day. It looks like them remembering a small detail you mentioned weeks ago. It looks like them asking about you in casual ways that are not casual at all. They will not admit they are hooked, but their behavior repeats. Today, we are unlocking the 3 zodiac signs most likely to fall into this pattern with Libra and why. Stay until the end, because obsession can feel flattering at first, but if you do not understand it, it can quietly tip your scale in a way you did not choose. Before we name the 3 signs, you need to understand why Libra creates this effect in the first place. Libra is not simply the sign of beauty. Libra is the sign of balance. And the beauty you carry is not only physical, it is atmospheric. It is the ability to adjust emotional space without anyone seeing you do it. You walk into a room and you feel everything. Who is tense? Who is pretending? Who feels left out? Who is trying too hard? You do not need anyone to explain it. You sense it immediately. And without announcing it, you begin to recalibrate the energy. A softer tone. A thoughtful question. A pause at the exact right moment. You do not control with force, you guide with rhythm. This is what people underestimate about Libra. You make others feel chosen without ever clearly choosing them. A longer glance, a warmer reply, a slight lean forward in conversation. It feels intentional, it feels rare, and to the person receiving it, it feels special. But here is the mechanism that creates obsession. You give a little attention, a little warmth, a little validation. Then you return to neutrality. You create space. You slow down. You become less available. Not because you are playing games, because you are restoring balance. But for someone who felt that initial spark of being seen, the shift creates a gap. And human psychology does not like gaps. When something feels good and then becomes less accessible, the mind tries to recover it. The other person begins to lean forward. They try harder. They look for signals. They replay moments to decode what changed. This creates an addiction loop. You provide harmony. They crave the return of that harmony. The truth is difficult, but important. Many people who secretly obsess over Libra are not deeply in love with Libra. They are addicted to the way Libra makes them feel about themselves. They felt confident, seen, elevated, balanced. And once they tasted that version of themselves, they want it back. Before we reveal the 3 signs, you need the framework, because obsession with Libra is not random. It follows a pattern. Obsession begins when someone meets you and realizes something unsettling. You do not need them, and yet they want you to choose them. That tension is the spark. Libra triggers obsession through 3 main mechanisms. The first is the mirror. You reflect people back to themselves in their best light. You listen carefully. You adjust your tone to match their energy. You highlight their strengths without exaggeration. In your presence, they feel articulate, attractive, interesting. They feel like a refined version of who they are. And when they leave, they miss that reflection. The second is distance. You are warm, but you are never fully consumed. You stay close enough to create connection, but far enough to preserve mystery. You do not overshare everything at once. You do not emotionally collapse into someone immediately. There is always a slight space between you and them. That space creates magnetism, close enough to feel, far enough to wonder. The third is fairness. Libra treats people well, all people. You do not visibly rank individuals. You do not make someone feel obviously superior in public. And this creates a subtle insecurity in those who crave exclusivity. They begin to ask themselves, am I special to Libra, or am I just another person on the scale? That question fuels the obsession. Now understand the word secretly. They do not confess. They do not expose their vulnerability. They hide it to protect their pride or to maintain a sense of control. They pretend they are casual. They pretend they are unbothered. But internally they are watching, calculating, hoping. And there are 3 signs that fall into this loop, with Libra more than others. There are 3 zodiac signs that fall into this loop, with Libra more than the rest. They will never announce it. They will not say, I am obsessed with you. They will not confess that they think about you when they should be focused on something else. Because if they admit it, they lose power. And these signs do not like losing power. Each one is drawn to a different layer of you. One is pulled toward your light. They love the way you make everything feel elevated, polished, alive. Being around you feels like stepping onto a brighter stage. One is hooked on your mind. They cannot get enough of the way you think, the way you respond, the way you subtly challenge them without confrontation. And one is captured by your depth. They sense there is more under the surface. They want to uncover it. They want to understand it. They want to possess the truth of you. These 3 signs do not obsess loudly. They obsess strategically. Let us start with the one who cannot stop replaying your words. Ready for sign number 1, Gemini. 5. Sign number 1, Gemini. Obsessed because Libra is a conversation that never ends. Gemini does not fall into obsession through emotion first. Gemini falls into obsession through the mind. And Libra, you are mental elegance. Gemini moves fast. Thoughts, jokes, topics, connections. Their energy jumps from idea to idea, like sparks across dry air. Most people cannot keep up. Most people either overwhelm them or bore them. But you do something different. You respond quickly, but never chaotically. You match their rhythm without losing composure. You are witty, but you do not overshare. You reveal just enough to intrigue, never enough to exhaust the mystery. For Gemini, this is intoxicating. You become the one conversation that never quite finishes. Gemini is drawn to variety, but you give them structure for their variety. You create a beautiful frame within which they can move freely. And because you do not spill everything at once, they cannot fully decode you. This is where the obsession begins. Gemini does not obsess with dramatic emotional displays. Gemini obsesses through repetition of thought. Why did Libra say it like that? Was that comment playful or intentional? Did Libra mean something deeper? They replay your tone, your emoji, the pause before you responded. They will message you about something small, a meme, a random thought, a song you once mentioned. It looks casual. It is not casual. It is an excuse to stay connected. When you become quiet, they do not retreat. They increase signal, more reactions, more light touches, more subtle entry points. They want to reopen the loop. Here are the signs Gemini is secretly obsessing over you. They appear consistently, but never too intensely. They do not disappear. They stay present. They ask playful questions that are actually tests. Who were you with? What type of person do you like? Did you miss me? If you delay replying, they monitor. They watch your story. They like something new. They drop another small hook. Gemini is strongest when you react strongly. If you respond emotionally to every signal, the loop deepens. If you want to move forward with them, give them an anchor. Suggest a clear plan. Move the energy from playful to intentional. If you do not want the dynamic to escalate, stop feeding the curiosity. Warm but brief. Engaged but steady. Gemini will never call it obsession. They will call it unfinished conversation. Ready for the sign who obsesses not with words, but with pride and position. Leo. 6. Sign number 2, Leo. Obsessed because Libra sees them as royalty, but never kneels. Leo is ruled by the sun. Leo thrives on recognition, on being seen, on being chosen. And Libra, you are one of the few signs who knows how to look at Leo in a way that makes them glow. You compliment with taste. You notice their effort. You appreciate their style, their charisma, their presence. But you do not exaggerate. You do not flatter blindly. You remain balanced. And this balance is what traps them. Because Leo is used to people admiring them loudly. They are used to applause. But you give something different. You give refined validation, specific praise, a private smile that feels more powerful than public applause. It makes them feel special. But here is the tension. You do not revolve around them. You are warm with others too. You remain fair. You do not dramatically elevate Leo above everyone else. And suddenly, Leo begins to wonder, am I the favorite? Am I the one Libra truly chooses? Or am I just one of many? That question ignites the obsession. Leo obsesses through competition. They notice who else you laugh with, who else receives your attention. They remember every compliment you gave them and replay it like proof. They may try to define the relationship early, to put a label on it, not because they are insecure, but because they want to secure their place on your scale. Here are the signs Leo is secretly obsessing. They flirt in ways that feel confident but slightly calculated. They invite you to places where they shine. They introduce you into their world, their stage, their curated space. If you pull back, Leo does not shrink. They glow brighter. More photos, more achievements displayed, more charisma turned up. They want your eyes back on them. They may even test you. If I stop reaching out, will Libra come to me? With Leo, you must be intentional. If you want to move forward, choose moments to make them feel specifically selected. Praise them privately. Show appreciation clearly, but do not surrender your balance. If you do not want to escalate, avoid giving them a stage in your life. Do not create space for them to perform a leading role. Leo does not obsess because you are beautiful. Leo obsesses because you make them question whether they are enough to hold your gaze. Now prepare for the sign who does not obsess through conversation or pride, but through depth and control. Scorpio. 7. Sign number 3. Scorpio. Obsessed because Libra is soft but guarded. Scorpio does not approach lightly. They move through life like someone scanning for truth beneath the surface. They are used to intensity, used to emotional depth, used to power plays that are obvious and direct. And then they meet you. Libra does not overpower. You do not explode. You do not reveal everything at once. You are calm, measured, polite, balanced, but you are not empty. Scorpio senses the layers, and that is where the obsession begins. They are used to reading people easily. They detect fear, jealousy, desire, weakness. But with you, the reading is incomplete. You respond thoughtfully, but you do not expose your core immediately. You stay composed. You observe back. For Scorpio, this is a challenge. Why can I not fully decode Libra? What are they holding behind that smile? Are they truly neutral, or are they choosing silently? Scorpio obsesses differently than Gemini or Leo. They do not replay your jokes. They do not compete for applause. They want answers. They want depth. They want to reach the foundation beneath your grace. Their obsession is not only about possessing you. It is about possessing the truth of you. They may pull you closer emotionally, then test your limits. They may ask probing questions disguised as curiosity. They notice inconsistencies. They track patterns. And if they feel jealousy, they do not explode. They grow colder, more observant, more strategic. They may create subtle scenarios to see how you react. Here are the signs Scorpio is secretly obsessing. They know more about your life than you realize. They remember small details. They watch consistency. If you say one thing today, they check if you stand by it tomorrow. Their presence feels intense but quiet. Deep eye contact. Controlled energy. If you want something real with Scorpio, clarity is essential. Not performance. Not flirtation games. Consistency. Boundaries. Honest answers. If you do not want escalation, avoid half signals. Avoid ambiguous flirting. Ambiguity is the language that keeps Scorpio hooked the longest. Scorpio obsesses because you represent something rare to them. You are beauty with discipline. And discipline is the one thing Scorpio both respects and desperately wants to break. Ready to understand why it is not only these three? Now you might be asking, what about Aries, Cancer, Capricorn, Aquarius, or the rest of the zodiac? It is not that they never notice Libra. Many signs are attracted to Libra. Your balance, your charm, your diplomacy are universally appealing. But attraction is not the same as obsession. The three we discussed are simply the ones most likely to fall into the loop. Some signs are too direct to obsess secretly. Aries, for example, feels something and says it. They confront, they claim. If they want you, you will know. Their fire does not like quiet longing. It burns or it moves on. Some signs are too emotionally adaptive. Cancer may care deeply, but they process their feelings internally and adjust. If the balance feels off, they retreat into safety rather than orbit endlessly. Capricorn is practical. If the dynamic feels unstable, they calculate the cost and reposition themselves. They may admire you, but they will not linger in emotional imbalance for long. Aquarius values independence. If they sense obsession forming, they detach before it takes over. This is important. It is not only about sun signs. Obsession is often activated through Moon Venus or Mars placements. Someone with Gemini Moon or Scorpio Venus may feel this dynamic even if their sun sign is different. But the pattern remains. Obsession forms where curiosity, pride, or depth meet Libra's rhythm. Now let us talk about how to recognize when someone is quietly orbiting you. Ready for the checklist? 9. The shared signs. Someone is secretly obsessing over Libra. Now let us make this practical. How do you actually know when someone is secretly obsessing over you? Not liking, not flirting casually, obsessing. There are patterns, and Libra, you are intuitive enough to notice them if you stop doubting yourself. First, they show up consistently, but they do not name their feelings. They remain present in your digital and physical space. They respond, they react, they appear, but they never clearly define what this is. Second, they gather information indirectly. They ask mutual friends about you. They remember things you barely remember saying. They randomly know details about your schedule, your preferences, your plans. It feels accidental. It is not accidental. Third, they react strongly when you are fair with others, when you compliment someone else, when you give someone else attention, when you remain neutral instead of choosing them. The reaction may not be dramatic, but it is visible. A slight shift in tone, a colder response, a delayed reply. Fourth, they resurface at strategic moments, just when you begin to forget them, just when your energy has moved on. They reappear with a message, a joke, a memory. Fifth, they try to create moments that feel memorable, a specific place, a unique inside joke, a shared experience. They want to plant something that makes you remember them distinctly. Libra, if you recognize two or more of these patterns in someone, you are not imagining it. They are orbiting. But now we must address something crucial, because obsession can feel powerful. It can feel flattering. And that is where Libra can lose balance. Ready for the truth about why obsession is not love. This is the part many Libra placements need to hear clearly. Obsession is not love. It is imbalance. When someone secretly obsesses over you, they are often trying to use you to fill a space inside themselves. They are chasing the feeling you give them, the validation, the elevation, the calm, the excitement. But chasing a feeling is not the same as building something stable. Libra, you are sensitive to disappointment. You do not like letting people down. You do not like creating discomfort. So when you sense someone leaning in, wanting more, hoping for reassurance, you may soften. You may extend yourself. You may try to keep the harmony alive. But you were not born to carry someone else's imbalance. You were born to restore balance, not to become the scale someone clings to. If someone is obsessed only with the feeling you provide, they will react poorly when you set boundaries. They may grow distant, cold, defensive. They may accuse you of changing. But if someone truly values you, they stabilize when you clarify. They respect your limits. They grow calmer, not more frantic when you are clear. That is the difference between obsession and genuine care. Obsession pulls. Love steadies. And Libra, your power has never been in how much you give. It has always been in how well you maintain equilibrium. Now I want to hear from you. Libra, what day were you born? Drop your birthday in the comments. Let us see which Venusian energy is strongest here. Which sign has secretly obsessed over you the most? Gemini, Leo, Scorpio, or someone unexpected? And if you want part 2, tell me in the comments. I can reveal 3 signs who are silently jealous of Libra and why they cannot admit it. Follow if you want deeper astrology that does not just flatter but reveals patterns you can actually use. Share this with another Libra who needs to understand the difference between being admired and being pulled into imbalance. Now let us close this properly. Libra, you are not powerless. You simply choose peace over noise. Gemini obsesses over your mind. Leo obsesses over your validation. Scorpio obsesses over your mystery. But none of them define your worth. You were not born to become someone's emotional addiction. You were born to hold the scale steady. If someone is orbiting, you ask yourself one question: are you balanced, or are you leaning to keep them comfortable? Obsession pulls, real love stabilizes. And if you feel the weight shifting, do not panic. Look at your scale, then choose yourself.